See.
You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you, Mino. I wanted to start by reading the different verses. First of all, there's the Koji Kaimon art version, which is, do not praise self or others, attain modest sexual virtue. In the realm of the equitable Dharma, not dwelling upon I versus you is the precept of not praising self or blaming others. All Buddhas and ancestors realized the empty sky and the great earth. When they manifest the noble body, there is neither inside nor outside in emptiness. When they manifest the Dharma body, not even a speck of dust is seen upon the ground. And like the last time I did a precept, I wanted to read the Abby version because I find that very interesting, which is, do not speak against others. Do not speak against the Lord of the house. Every person, every being is the temple of the Lord wherein the Lord dwells, the still water wherein the dragon lives. If you speak against others, you speak against the Lord of the house. Do not try to divide the Lord of the house. Do not try to cause war within the Lord. Do not try to make the Lord make war upon himself. In Buddhism, the truth and everything are the same law, the same enlightenment, and the same behavior. Do not allow anyone to speak of another's faults. Do not find fault with the Lord of the house. Do not allow anyone to make a mistake in Buddhism. To speak against the Lord of the house is the greatest mistake of which I know. Now, I've done a lot of research for today's talk, and there's a lot of opinions on what to use for each of the precepts. I happen to like Shasta Abbey's version a lot because it's very straightforward. If you talk about what's wrong with someone else, you're not only giving a each of the precepts, you're hurting them. You're telling them they're not who they're meant to be. They're not the Lord of the house. They shouldn't be the way they are. And as someone who's been a victim of that growing up, that really resonated with me. But there are also other points of view. Tomio gave a talk on the precepts, and her point of view is that in our head, we're still breaking, we're still ourselves from being others. San Francisco's Zen Center, what it is, do not praise self defense of us. Little Meadow, do not praise self abusing others. They all kind of come from the same thing, but we range from whether or not we're talking directly about it to another person about, or whether we're just seeing it in our own heads. What directly constitutes blaming others? For myself, I find it ironic. Monday, I ended up reaching this very precept in time during this sleep talk. I was in the tub and we were talking about Cora. Cora is an online, like people can go with questions, any questions I can get. I throw questions there. And asked, well, what kind of questions do you answer? And I usually questions, which pretty much right there just summed up my whole speaking to others. And they wanted to know why they called them stupid, that I couldn't come up with a good answer. You know, people ask stupid questions. Well, what makes a stupid question? Why are you calling it stupid? Well, and I just generally, totally made a complete loud fool of myself and felt very bad about it. And then later I thought about what was a stupid question, and couldn't actually define the term. I thought about it over over and over again and practically wrote paragraphs in my head trying to define it in a way that didn't use the word stupid. And I couldn't do it. He's like, yeah, okay, I do think it was this question. Wow. Wow, I'm really that much of a dork. But I realized that I was like, well, why am I calling it a stupid question? What makes it stupid? What's that? And I realized it's not, I think the question is, and I'm looking for questions other people think are stupid because those are the ones that don't get good answers. Those are the ones that will either use or they don't answer at all because they're either too basic or they're too loaded. I look at those for them. Am I still in the precept because I call them stupid questions? I, but I can't find another word to put it that doesn't take a whole paragraph to explain. So I'm not real sure on that. There are other ways to do on how to deal with this. Um, Creston Valley Advance said we criticize in others what we reject in ourselves. And their advice was the next time you notice yourself judging another, ask, what am I not tolerating within myself? You find the answer to that question, refrain from turning that judgment against yourself in the form of guilt. It was actually pretty interesting advice. And I definitely criticized in others what I rejected myself. And then I got it later. I'm like, that was kind of stupid. And Domio's point of view is that comparing ourselves is natural, but that we should compare and look at praising ourselves for things that value that people can have abundance as well, like authenticity, humility, gratitude, compassion, and patience. And that's also a valid viewpoint, in my opinion. So I think really the issue is both very simple and very complex at the same time, because what is praising self? Do we want to, is our takeaway that we should never think good ourselves? Because even doing it in our head is a possibly bad for everyone. Because that's not true. One of the meditations I found that the Buddha specifically was listed in as object of meditation is what you do right. So praising self isn't necessarily the bad thing, especially possibly when you're praising yourself for Domyo's virtuous qualities. But where I don't know that there's ever a good time to blame others, to put them down or abuse them, regardless of whether we're praising ourselves at the same time. I think part of this deal is comparing ourselves to others. That when we compare ourselves to others, we are almost always putting someone down. Look at me, look at this. We're making, someone is going to come off differently than the other. Am I better than this person? Am I worse than this person? You can't compare them without putting someone down, I don't think. So that's my bucket, as it might be. Questions were, first of all, do you think there's a better thing to call it than stupid questions? Does it have any don't take a paragraph? And is it possible or desirable to avoid comparison entirely? Are there things that are good to make comparisons about that are healthy? And in general, what do you all think? So, well, that's feast.
So I don't know if it was just me, but I missed kind of a lot because of, I think, your connection. I don't know, was it just me? Yeah, and I hate that because the parts that I got were really, really interesting. So, oh gosh, you,
Yeah, I feel
I
the
got,
same way. I
I,
missed a lot, and I thought it was me, but I thought it was my computer because my computer went off and came back on. But I know it's too bad because what I got was really interesting too. Keiko.
so you talked about stupid questions, and I got a little bit of that, and wondered if you could give an example of,
Well, one of the most common stupid question is, am I a sociopath?
huh,
And
and
that one counts in two ways. First of all, people ask it over and over again, so it's kind of silly to keep asking because you get one good answer that should theoretically be enough. You can't answer every single iteration of a question. And second of all, because the answer is no. If you're asking the question, then you are not. But the reason that is a stupid question is not either of those actually, but the fact that nearly everybody else who answers it is going to be abusive about it. They're going to be, they're giving misinformation about what a sociopath is or be abusive about sociopaths in their life. So that makes it a stupid question and one that I will answer because people are going to treat it like it's a stupid question.
hmm.
Because the answer is foregone. You you already know the answer.
No, because people are going to abuse her. People aren't going to give them a serious answer. They're going to treat the question as though it were stupid,
But is it, can it,
Say that again. You're going to treat the question as
as though it were other the what the site is that anyone can answer questions, but a lot of questions go unanswered or get abusive or harmful or incorrect answers. And those are the questions I prefer to answer.
could, could the question, am I a sociopath? And again, I'm not sure if I really understood your response, but I mean, because there's a little breakup in your connection. But could the question, "Am I a sociopath?" not be a sincere question? Could not a person be? And I understand that you're saying that if you're concerned about that, then obviously you're not a sociopath. But still, on another level, I could certainly imagine somebody being seriously wanting to know if they were a sociopath.
Again, if you're concerned about it, the answer is no. No actual sociopath would care.
But you might not know that when you were originally asked the question. I mean, you might need somebody to tell you that.
And perhaps somebody said to you once, you're a sociopath. And so that would be eating away at you when you ask that.
Right. And that's how I answer the question, the way that just exactly like that, as though we're eating it away at them. Because pretty much everyone who does ask, it is bothering them. They were told that or they're afraid of it. And those people need reassurance. They need comfort. They need a good, solid answer that they can rely on to know that no, they are not. They are absolutely not.
So then it's not a stupid question.
Not at all. Not even the slightest. But people treat them as though they were stupid.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
We missed that. Right. I feel like there was so much content in your talk, Dixie, and I just feel cheated because,
I feel bad that I didn't notice you guys couldn't hear me.
well, it's not that we couldn't hear you. You were breaking up, and so it could get a
Your
little.
your microphone overdrives somehow. Somebody who knows something about microphones could answer that.
Yeah, we need Bob.
Yeah.
Because the words are clear and then they are mushed.
I wonder if you had anything written, Dixie, that you might be able to. I don't know how you would feel about sharing your your talk written. Just
I have notes, but that I don't know that they would make sense. They're just bullet points.
yeah. How did the stupid question thing come up for you?
I was having a chat about Quora, and someone asked me what kind of questions to answer, and I said stupid questions. And then I realized, what did I just say?
I see. I see.
What am I thinking? What did I just say? With the,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't think of a different way, but a way to put that doesn't take a whole paragraph to
Yeah. I
explain.
see. Hmm. And
Well,
then
it's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
so no, go ahead. You.
Well, I was just thinking about praising self and blaming others. And you talked about, treating people the way you would treat yourself. And one of the things that happens to me is if I do something that I consider stupid, or, I say to myself, but I sometimes say it out loud, that was a stupid thing to do. So I'm blaming myself. And I think that is something that we shouldn't do either, is blame self or blame others, but you shouldn't blame self.
I
And I
agree.
probably blame myself more than I blame others, so that's
I agree
something.
100%.
Yeah. And that came up for me as you were speaking about, and just reading the precept, don't praise self or blame others. Don't blame yourself.
Um, in the realm of the equitable Dharma, fixes that for me a little bit because praise don't praise self sounds a little scoldy, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds a little bit harsh. Like, um, it almost sounds like don't be nice to yourself. But I don't. But I think that in the realm of the equitable Dharma, to me, translates that don't praise self or blame others, more like we don't have to like say like you. I think we're saying that comparison thing. Are they better than me? Do they make more money than me? Do they dress better? Are they, are they happier? Do they have a better relationship? It just goes on all the time. Um, and and so in the realm of the equitable Dharma, we're all the same.
Interestingly, Shasta Abbey's version of the precept neither does not mention praising self, nor does it mention comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's the only version of the precepts that doesn't.
The the thing what it reminds for me is about praise and praising self. I used to have to be in this job where I used to have to stand for election every 3 years. And it was a big council of 600 people, and they'd all vote. And so you'd get up and make your speech. And one day somebody said to me, they said, "Oh, Peter, we sit down and we actually write down how many times the person says I and how many times the person says we." Because you get a lot of people, what they do, I did this, I did that, I did this, but they never talk about what we can do and who we are. And for me, like when you're talking, for me, I was thinking about this earlier about the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And up on the top of my bookshelf, I'll grab it for you. I got this at, I don't know if you can see it. It's the three existences, past, present, future. But it's also it's the three gems. It's the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. It's the three Buddhas. And I was thinking about this. This came, and one of them is also Tara, I should say. But it is from a Buddhist stupa down south from here, which claims to be the biggest stupa in the world. But it's, and I was thinking about it earlier. I'm losing my train of thought. But for me, like you're thinking about, oh, how about we, and we, or is it I, or but it's always the Sangha, it's the community, and how does the Dharma affect us? And when you're talking about the stupid question, it's making you think about the unanswerable questions. So the Buddha says, oh, there's all these unanswerables. And I've known people who are sociopaths. I've worked with them in prisons. And I mean really serious sociopaths who would kill a family member. And they very clearly are often very smart people who understand what sociopathy is, or psychopathy. They understand the definitions, but they, for some reason, are able to put that aside. I don't think it's whether they ask the question or not of themselves. They just can put that aside and behave in particular ways. And some people only think about I. It's a really difficult thing. Whereas I think that, maybe I'm just talking too much. I'm just saying, I think part of the precepts is about, well, the role of the Sangha, the role of us as a community. Anyway, that's what I was thinking about. I'll leave it there. Go back to where I was.
It is time. Thank you, Dixie, so much.
I guess it's my turn. Let me get my notes here. Okay, so I'm talking about the following Bodhisattva precept. Do not be mean with Dharma or wealth. Share understanding, give freely of self. In the genuine, all-pervading Dharma, being jealous of nothing is a precept of not being mean with Dharma or wealth. One phrase, one verse, that is the 10,000 things in 100 grasses. One Dharma, one realization, that is all Buddhas and Dharma ancestors. From the beginning, not one thing has been begrudged. And I'm getting over laryngitis, so please forgive me if my voice is not all there. So this precept invites us to meet the world with generosity, not just generosity of material things, but generosity of the heart and mind. It asks us to freely give of ourselves without holding back. To not be mean is not only about how we relate to money or possessions, but also about how we relate to the treasures of our lives, our time, our presence, our understanding, and our willingness to connect. One phrase that stands out to me in this is one phrase, one verse, that is the 10,000 things in 100 grasses. Even the smallest act, when offered with sincerity, can carry the whole Dharma. A kind word, a moment of real listening, sharing something we've learned in a way that connects us to others, being with somebody who's having surgery at the hospital. Even just a breath shared in silence can be an act of giving. What also resonates deeply for me is a realization that we all have something to give, no matter what. This precept isn't just about generosity in the abstract, it's a recognition that each of us has a unique gift to offer the world. Even when we feel like we have very little, we still have something that no one else can offer in quite the same way. Our presence, our story, and the way we care for people. In that way, giving becomes less about having a surplus and more about simply being willing, being open, being present. When we act from that place, even a small offering can be profound. And the thing that brought me to this sort of caused me to choose this precept, is I found myself thinking about generosity on a larger scale, particularly the enormous disparities of wealth in our world. Recently, I saw a chart comparing Elon Musk's wealth with that of other billionaires, let alone just regular people. And it really hit me how much one person can accumulate. It made me wonder, at what point does wealth stop being a personal achievement and start becoming a moral responsibility? This question led me right back to this precept. What does it mean to not be mean with wealth in a world where some have so much and many have so little? And how do we live this teaching in a way that is not about blaming others, but also about staying awake and compassionate in the face of inequality? For me, it's not about judging individuals, it's about seeing clearly. It's about asking, am I living in a way that is generous? What do I have to offer? Where am I holding back? There's a line here that I find both humbling and inspiring. From the beginning, not one thing has been begrudged. That's a generous vision of life. The sun shines on everyone. The rain falls freely. In that same spirit, this precept calls us to live with open hands, offering ourselves without fear, trusting that generosity is the ground of our practice. And I'd like to have some discussion questions. So here's some questions for reflection, or if you just want to tell me what you think of the precept in general. Here's some questions though. What does generosity mean to you beyond just material giving? Are there ways in which you hold back that feel worth exploring? What unique gifts do you feel called to offer, especially in this Sangha or in your daily life? And how might we practice generosity in a world where inequality and scarcity are so visible? So I'd love to hear what you think about this particular precept.
Well, I'd like to thank Takeo for sending out a newsletter every week.
Yes.
That is just, and I give it to my partner and wife Melody, because she gets so upset by what she sees happening, and it just, like, oh, thank God, and that there's some, I think that's generosity. It's like, putting your time out to do it and putting yourself out there. I think it's really beautiful. Thank you.
Monica, that was beautiful. I think that you should be more generous with your Dharma. That just came to me.
I do too.
Really do.
I doing this is really, yeah, it's kind of made me realize that too. I've been holding back personally because of fear and just fear, just stress from the world and what's going on. And uh, yeah, so yeah, I think we all have something to offer that's, different. And I think we all should.
It was just so beautifully said. I can't really think of anything to add. What was your questions again? Where can we be more generous in our own lives? Was that one of your questions?
Yeah, let's see here. So, my question. So, what does generosity mean to you beyond just material giving? And I think, Peter, like really for you, Takeo, that was such a great example because, yeah, that newsletter is amazing. That's Dharma, you know. And then, are there ways in which you hold back that feel worth exploring? What unique gifts do you feel called to offer, especially in this Sangha or in your daily life? And how might we practice generosity in a world where inequality and scarcity are so visible? Yeah.
Say the last one again.
How might, where is it? How might we practice generosity in a world where inequality and scarcity are so visible? That's kind of the question. For me, that's sort of like the big question I have right now, because I'm so disturbed by the wealth disparity in our world. And I don't know. I don't, yeah, it's, but what can I do, you know?
You asked another question that I think was something like, at what point does wealth become a moral issue or a responsibility? Did I get that right? That's such an interesting question.
Yeah, I think so too, because yeah, I think it is too. I think I've kind of come personally, and this, I don't want to sound judgmental, but I kind of feel like um I don't know. I feel like if you have, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars, that maybe you should, you know, share some of that a little bit. But I mean, I don't know. Like
I don't know. Sometimes I feel that I live in a house that is owned by someone else, so my rent is free. I get Social Security, so I have an income. I get Medicare, so my medical expenses are paid for. I'm very well off. I'm very fortunate. And whenever I end up with a little bit of cash, I give it away because I have more than enough. I don't know. Like many of us have more wealth than we know.
I think separate from money, there's also like being able to give a smile, eye contact, friendliness. That's a kind of wealth that we all can do. It has nothing to do with money per se, and that we can perhaps there's a Thich Nhat Hanh thing about a smile is the beginning of peace. And so, you know, if I can offer a smile to somebody, maybe I'm offering peace. Maybe they're having a bad day, and that smile is going to make a difference. So there's a quality of that that's totally separate from money. Just how we interact with the world can be, what was it? Don't be mean with Dharma or wealth. You know, if we are sharing the Dharma, that's maybe the biggest gift that we can give anybody. And so I'll leave it at that.
I don't have the print in front of me, but what's the last sentence? So of the precept, is it that you've already got enough?
it's let's see here. Well, it says let's see, one phrase, one verse, that is the 10,000 things and 100 grasses, one Dharma, one realization. That is all Buddhas and Dharma ancestors from the beginning. Not one thing has been
Not one
begrudged.
thing has been begrudged. You've got enough.
Yeah, like I mean, everything is there for us, you know, and I don't know. Again, I go back to those eagles. I think I mentioned the eagles, the live eagle camp, and how they just, you know, they just go get their fish and their little sticks, and everything is there for them to build their nest, and you know.
You know, when I think about my own life and its ups and downs, I have never wanted for one single thing, you know, not even a cigarette, nothing, ever.
You
I'm
mean,
sure I thought I did a lot of times, you know, practically all the time, but in fact, not one thing has ever been begrudged. I loved what you said. I loved your translation of one phrase, one verse is all the 10,000 things in 100 grasses. And you said, even the smallest thing can carry the whole Dharma.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's lovely.
And that,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, just yeah, I mean, it's yeah, like a smile or just or even just sitting in silence with somebody, you know. I mean,
Mhm.
did somebody, Penny, you were going to say something.
Well, I was kind of going to say what you said, you know, even a smile, and spending time with people. You know, everyone knows I love hiking, and I've been spending more time with people who didn't get out ever and want to get out, and walking very slowly, just spending time, you know, and you know, and appreciating nature, and not, you know, trying to just hike, you know, which is really rewarding. And, you know, to me, that's like Dharma, you know, just spending time with people who need time and showing people things that I love, but they haven't really spent much time doing. So, you know, it's been beautiful. So that, you know, but it is hard, you know, like I was thinking when you were talking about some people have so much, and some people with so much share it, but a lot of people don't, you know, don't share their billions. So, but so it's interesting thinking about sharing, you know, what you have and what is it that you have. I mean, it's not just money,
Mhm.
um, or food, you know, doing service. I mean, that is some of it, but you know, so it's a good, I like this precept and I like the way you presented it.
Yeah, I kind of learned a lot because I did feel like I picked it because I was because of the whole wealth disparity thing. But then I really learned a lot just in that um there's more to wealth than money. I mean, and like I said, everybody's got something they can share. Everybody's special and unique, and everybody is their own expression of the Dharma, you know, individually, and you can share that with people. You can express that, and you should express it. I mean, because you know, it's not because the Dharma isn't being begrudged to you. Like you can, you know, you're receiving the Dharma. I don't know, like it's all interconnected.
And the idea of, and the connection with being jealous of nothing is the precept of not being mean with Dharma or wealth. I had a horrible uh, battle with envy over my brother's wealth. And I really worked so hard on that. And till I really realized that I wouldn't trade my life for his, you know. And I thought a lot about the tie-in between being jealous and um, being generous.
Mm.
What
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a
yeah,
good
what
thing.
is that connection?
Yeah, that's a hard jealousy is a hard one. I mean, it's such a it's everybody experience, it's just such a raw emotion that I think everybody experiences, and it's painful. It's such a painful
It's
emotion.
it's really painful. And when I thought about just being generous, it did, and just it really helped. It helped with that feeling of jealousy. I don't know why, but it did.
It's kind of like an antidote. Like I think
Mhm.
I heard in a Dharma talk that the antidote to jealousy is what's the is it
Mudita.
yes, mudita, where you're happy for other people's yeah,
Good fortune.
good
Yeah.
fortune. And it's so true. It's just it's such a good practice, you know.
It's a good practice because, at least for me, it completely works. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it'd be a worthless practice, but it's not.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think the part about when just the smallest thing like the smile, we have me and there's three of us that are really good friends, and one of them is losing her adult daughter as we speak. We don't know if she's going to make it through the night. And so we've tried to balance out texting or calling, we've how much do what can we do? What do we do? How much do we pull back? And my one friend texted her and said, every day we've tried to figure out, this balance of what we can do and not overwhelm. And people are cooking meals, doing that meal train and just dropping it off at the door, not going in, not bothering them, just dropping a meal off. And today, my one friend said, she texted her and said, what can we do today? And she said, can you just come to my door and give me a hug? That's just all I want right now. And so my friend went over and gave her a really big hug. And you think about just those really little things that she's sitting there watching her daughter take her last breath right now. And adult daughter, she's in her 40s. And it's got to be the worst thing that she'll ever probably experience in her lifetime. And just to be able to offer a hug and when she really, really needed it is just, it kind of goes to that. It really so much more than money, than wealth, than you know, giving belongings or whatever. So I think sometimes we don't realize how just our love or care, reaching out, and it is Takeo, being in hospice. So many times we just don't know what to say, or we don't know what to do. We just kind of feel helpless, and just to be able to do just even the tiniest thing like that can just bring so much to the person that's suffering in the moment. So
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, that's a really good example. I wonder if this is a good place to end on that note.
Yeah.
Is your friend on the merit list? Is your friend's daughter on the merit list?
I think I put her on last week, but I don't think I heard her tonight. It's Jen Olson.
Oh yeah, she's on there.
Is she okay?
Yeah.
Mm.
Both of you guys, that was just so uplifting.
Thank you.
Yeah, what we could hear of you, Dixie, was really, it was so rich in content, and it wasn't all lost, but I'm sure there was more. If feel like putting your notes together at all? I mean, it's just a thought.